please. When I was 12 years old, my pediatrician told me I would be 6 feet tall. It hasn't happened yet. Now it has. It is a great pleasure and a privilege to welcome you to the dedication of the Maintenance Center in honor of Buster Potter. And Buster, wherever you are, would you please come forward? We're going to embarrass you a little bit. Now, Joy and I and our kids, that's probably a good idea, Tony, arrived at Kents Hill on July 4th, 1990. And within about a day and a half, I realized that although I was the headmaster, I was not the person in charge of Kents Hill School. That was Buster. And Buster had an encyclopedic knowledge of everything that you needed to know and no one else knew. And if you wanted something to happen, if you didn't go through Buster, it didn't happen. So I learned very quickly to rely on Buster. Matt says he can't hear me in the back, so I'm going to have to stand here. Now, Buster, as many of you have observed, has somewhere found the fountain of youth, because he looks younger now than he did when we met in 1990. However, in 1990, I was considerably younger than I am today, and I decided that I should become really acquainted with our campus and walk the boundaries. Now, we have 400, 500 acres. It's probably the most stupid thing I'd ever thought of. But I asked Buster if he would take me around on a perimeter walk. And he looked at me, and there was a little enigmatic smile, and he said, sure. And I figured, I knew Buster was in shape, but I had a few years advantage and thought this was going to be a piece of cake. After about a mile, I was crawling. He moved through the woods like a scythe through wheat. And so I had developed a very expanded appreciation for Buster physically as well as for his knowledge. But most important, Buster Potter is one of the nicest men I've ever known. He is someone who will always help you out, always be there, absolutely reliable. He was on our staff and headed up our staff for over 30 years. And Kents Hill would not be anywhere near where we are today were it not for Buster's leadership and commitment to the school. So it is a very great pleasure to dedicate this wonderful maintenance center to Buster. Buster that he could have about 45 minutes to talk. He said, you mean 45 seconds. But before he does, we have a couple other people who want to say a word or two. And Belinda, you're going to start us off, I think. Come on up.
I don't want to be up there. You don't want? I'm Buster's daughter, Belinda, and he has 3 children, and we have husbands and wives and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and so this is sort of representing all of us as family and extended family, and it's our dad. Growing up, we saw these qualities in Dad as he worked up here at Kents Hill. He was dedicated. He gave 150% to his work every day, and we knew that because he wasn't home a lot when he could have been. He was always very patient as a father, as a boss. He's honest, he's fair, and thrifty if he could not buy the part to fix something, he wouldn't make it. And that, I'm sure anybody that worked with Dad saw over the years, and he still does that. He's very non-judgmental. I don't know of a soul in any instance that Dad didn't give a second chance. He'd always be very understanding of whatever they were going through, and he just was never judgmental of anybody. He was a jack of all trades. He always said master of none, but we knew he was probably master of most of those trades. He was very, when he worked, his quality of work was wonderful. I used to come up to school as a child with him when he used to shovel coal over in the Sampson Hall, in the bottom of Sampson. He'd bring me up just so I could spend a little more time with him. And when he made ice, I don't know how many people remember the ice on the outdoor ice arena, but he made the smoothest ice, and all the boys from all around his other private schools loved to come and skate on Dad's ice. He's always been very devoted to Kents Hill. He loved his job, and it showed in everything he did in everyone's life he touched up here. We are all proud of these qualities, along with those we see around home every day. Since he's retired, it's been fun to have him around more. He's always ready to give a helping hand. Even though he worked up here in Devoted, he still was out. I don't think there's a single house a relative has that Dad hasn't done something to build, to put a piece together. He still mows the lawns, and he still plows nieces and nephews' driveways when, they don't have time, or he just wants to pass time to stay busy. He is caring, sharing, loving, and very committed to family. And he still runs circles around the most of us. And when I go snowshoeing with him in the winter, he's still the one that probably would out-snowshoe me, because I just run out of steam. He still gets down on the floor with the grandchildren. He did it with the great-grandchildren. Now we have grandchildren, and Dad's still down there playing games with them. Kents Hill School has been a part of our family since Dad started in 1957. My husband Mike still works on maintenance since 1979, and our son Jacob spent a good part of 14 years here. So they've had about 75 years of service together. And we're just honored to have him be honored today. So thank you.